Jeffrey Epstein used database to track underage girls. That is the topic of today's op-ed live. So Daily Beast, which is pretty much a far-left website, reported this. Epstein used database to track numerous underage girls held captive at his Virgin Islands hideaway. And the Attorney General of the United States U.S. Virgin Islands alleged in a Wednesday lawsuit that Epstein and his associates trafficked girls as young as 12 years old until 2018. So Epstein used his private hideaway in the Virgin Islands to sexually abuse numerous underage girls for nearly 2 decades. No, I bet nobody's surprised about that. And he tracked their availability and movements through a computerized database, according to a new lawsuit. On Wednesday, the government of the Virgin Islands sued the estate of the late sex offender for the alleged abuse, saying Epstein trafficked, raped, sexually assaulted, and held captive underage girls and young women at his properties in the Virgin Islands until 2018. This is what Attorney General Denise N. George said. The conduct of Epstein and his associates shocks the conscience and betrays the deepest principles and laws of the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands is not and will not be a safe haven for human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Well, it seems to be a little bit too late for that, right? It has been a safe haven for human trafficking and underage girl sex exploitation, right? So the lawsuit filed in Superior Court of the Virgin Islands seeks the forfeiture of Epstein's 2 islands. So he owned 2 islands there, right? Little St. James and Great St. James, as well as the dissolution of numerous shell companies the disgraced financier allegedly established in the territory as fronts for his sex trafficking enterprise. The islands are worth an estimated $86 million. $86 million. So nobody believes Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. He might have been suicided, but nobody believes it. As far as I know, even the mainstream media is claiming that they killed him. They took him out, right? And I don't know why. I mean, in this regard, I don't understand why Attorney General William Barr said this whole thing was a happenstance. I just can't believe. It's very hard for me to just take him at his words about this, but the report continues. A 66-year-old died by suicide in August in his Manhattan jail cell after being arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to state sex crime charges in Florida for paying for sexual services from an underage girl. The girls are, from 12 years old to 17 years old. And he promised money and promises of employment, career opportunities, and school assistance. I think, people who follow probably QAnon, I do. I follow QAnon. I believe there's some credibility to it. I don't know whether it's military intelligence, but there's too many things there that have predicted things correctly, especially about Jeffrey Epstein. When people talk about like Pizzagate issue, I think it's true. I think, if you look at WikiLeaks, if you check out the website, and if you if you type in those words, those coded words, it's all there. It's all there. So you can't say that it's just a conspiracy theory. The mainstream media, their narrative are conspiracy theories, but not WikiLeaks. I do think that QAnon, they do spread disinformation to confuse, I guess, the deep state. Whoever have followed those issues like Pizzagate or QAnon, they're not surprised about it. We knew all this stuff about Epstein like 2-3 years ago. The mainstream media, people who just blindly follow the mainstream media, they didn't know about it, but we all knew it. We all knew that this was happening, that the Epstein thing is going to blow up big. And I believe this impeachment thing, it's going to somehow probably be tied up with all this, the Epstein issue. And I really hope that William Barr is going to get to the bottom of it. John Durham, he's also investigating the Russia collusion hoax, who fabricated it, where it all started. I hope he goes deeper, and read the contents of what has been written, the emails of John Podesta and DNC, right? And go deeper, and I wish that he investigate this whole thing, about why the Pizzagate thing started in the first place, and all that, I mean, just make sure whether it's real or not. Many people, they are wondering. And the mainstream media, they have been criticizing media outlets that has been reporting about these issues, that they're conspiracy theories. I do not think it's a conspiracy theory. Probably it might be false. It might be proven wrong, okay? I mean, obviously, I can say this. Just by reading the emails, the content, there's many suspicious things going there, but we can't definitively say, they're doing some criminal activity. Of course, there's a whole bunch of suspicions there, so I think it begs for an investigation. But that's as far as we can go. We can't just say, oh, they are definitely criminals, right? I mean, there needs to be due process for that. So the report continues. Another girl also tried to escape after being recruited to give Epstein massages, prompting the disgraced billionaire to suggest physical restraint or harm if she failed to cooperate. Which means he pretty much threatened all those girls, right? More than a dozen women have filed lawsuits against Epstein's estate since his death, alleging everything from exploitation to sexual assault. Okay. So things are going to come out. Epstein, I think the Jeffrey Epstein thing is all together tied up with the Pizzagate thing, and I think the people who really dig up these things, the alternative media, who's trying to find the truth, who are seeking the truth, they ask me all the time, what's happening with this? What's happening with this? What's happening with the Epstein issue? They're asking, is the Pizzagate thing all dead? I don't think it's dead. Probably they might not investigate that, but I do think they are getting to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein issue. Hopefully they are. So let's check out some news headlines and Twitter feeds. Okay, Trump tweeted this: "The best is yet to come." He tweeted this January 20th. I don't know what he's meaning here, but probably he's talking about the impeachment process, that it will be exposed. The Democrats' hoax about the Ukrainian scandal will be exposed, and QAnon has been alluding that the Great Awakening will start happening from the impeachment process. So let's see what happens. Let's move on to the next page. Trump Jr. tweeted this: oh my God, this is real. It's not that he molested children. He's talking about Jeffrey Epstein. It's not that he molested children that got CNN to pay attention. It's that he did not have high regard for the environment. WTF means what the F, right? CNN? Because CNN has been reporting that. Look at that on the bottom. Jeffrey Epstein's disregard for environmental protections showed his disrespect for the environment. Are you talking about environment when there are young girls being trafficked and raped? That's the biggest concern you have? That's why I'm so sick and tired of people talking about even climate change. It's a delusion. It's a deep state delusion. If they really want to talk about climate change, why don't they pressure China about that? But when you even bring up China, then they always say that China is they're at the forefront of alternative energy, that they're number one in solar panel and all that stuff. But how come they don't talk about the pollution that China is creating in Asia, right? Is America the only country on earth? I just don't understand it. So Jeffrey Epstein's disregard for environmental protections showed his disrespect for the law. Seems like CNN is more concerned about the environmental issue rather than sex trafficking. Let's move on to the next page. Kimberly Guilfoyle, she's a girlfriend for Trump Jr. right now, right? And she was the ex-wife of California Governor Gavin Newsom, right? When he used to be the mayor of San Francisco. So she tweeted this: approval of President Trump among farmers in the Corn Belt is on the rise following the signing of the long-awaited U.S.-China trade. President Trump promised to fight for America's farmers, and just like he has for so many others, he delivered. He has an 83% approval rating among farmers. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Yeah, you can see this. This is a Wall Street Journal article. Farmer approval of Trump hits record, poll shows. Approval rises after United States-China trade deal signing and progress on replacement for NAFTA. Let's move on to the next page. Trump tweeted this. It's about the economy, stupid, except when it comes to Trump. The fact is, the fake news media hates talking about the economy and how incredible it is. Let's move on to the next page. Trump tweeted this. Poll, majority oppose conviction removal in Trump impeachment. A Gallup poll shows 93% of Republicans oppose a Senate impeachment conviction of Trump, and 51% of Americans agree. That's a report from Breitbart. Let's move on to the next page. Trump tweeted this, and they say you can add 7% to 10% to all Trump numbers. Who knows? You know, look at that number, 7% to 10%. If you add up that number, it comes to 17. What does 17 mean in alphabetical order? It's Q, right? I really believe Trump is tied up to it. I do believe it. Trump talks about, you know, he went to Washington, D.C. 17 times. Out of all the numbers, I don't think you would remember the exact number where you go at a specific place if it goes over like 5-6 times, right? But he says for Trump to correctly remember that he went to Washington, D.C. 17 times, and I don't think he went to Washington, D.C. 17 times. I think he went there way more than 17 times, okay? Because he was a New Yorker, right? Before he went to the White House. So 17, QAnon, you know, the mainstream media attacks QAnon. But if you think that the mainstream media is fake news, then that automatically, the common sense dictates that QAnon is real. You know, it's real. And actually, if you look at the QAnon posts, it tells you which articles you need to read. And those articles sometimes are from the mainstream media, like NBC News or CNN, you know, WAPO. It's like that. So you can't just completely I do think you can't. You shouldn't just believe it 100%. Okay, some of them are real, I think. Some of them are not. So you have to kind of discriminate those things as you go along. So, and Trump hit 51% approval rating. Okay, and I do believe that's true. I think his real approval rating is around 58% to probably 63, like he's claiming. Let's move on to the next page. Ryan Furnier tweeted this. Martin Luther King looted nothing. Martin Luther King burned nothing. And he attacked no one. He was the exact opposite of liberals today, and that is how he changed the world. He's criticizing the Antifa folks who just beats up everybody who doesn't agree with them, right? Let's move on to the next page. Charlie Kirk tweeted this. 22,000 people showed up in Virginia to protest an infringement on their constitutional rights. No buildings vandalized, no journalists attacked, no cops were harassed. Some in the media call these patriots domestic terrorists, yet they refuse to say the same about Antifa, like I just told you. Let's move on to the next page. Kirk also tweeted this. Breaking, new reports reveal that Frank Biden's companies, one of Joe Biden's son, I guess, right? Frank Biden's companies received $54 million in taxpayer-funded loans to finance energy projects in Central America, just like his son, Biden's brother. Oh, Frank Biden is Joe Biden's son, Joe Biden's brother. So just like his son, Biden's brother also had no energy experience. This is a disgrace. Will the mainstream media cover this? I doubt that. Let's move on. Fox News tweeted this, reported this. Google whistleblower makes cryptic claim about search engine. 2016 election after wife's fatal crash. I mean, this is very, it's a scary story. This Google whistleblower, he talked about Google making their algorithm much more favorable to Hillary Clinton. And he said, but his wife is 29 years old. And Google whistleblower, his name is Robert Epstein. He is 66 years old. But anyway, a wife of Google whistleblower who exposed meddling in the 2016 election is killed in a car crash after she lost control and veered into the path of a tractor trailer. And there are many people, they think this death is just not an accident. I don't know. I'll just read the headlines here on Daily Mail. Google whistleblower Robert Epstein announced passing of his wife. This happened, months ago. Epstein said his wife succumbed to injuries from car crash. Epstein, a psychology professor, has criticized Google's operations and ethics. He testified that Google's algorithm gave 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton. Actually, Korea Daily also reported this, but we also reported a fake news. We just translated it. They omitted this fact that he testified that Google's algorithm gave 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton. And then, as you all know, Hillary Clinton carried the popular vote, though Trump won in the Electoral College. Let's move on. Dan Bongino tweeted this: I'm not sure what's worse, being AOC being Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or being dumb enough to follow AOC. The nonsense that emanates from her mouth is breathtaking in its stupidity, because she said to billionaires, if you look at the Daily Wire report there, to be ethical, you need to give up control and power, so I don't want your money as much as we want your power. Okay. Let's move on. We don't have any more. Okay. Well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right. It's about right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.